Good morning. There's a reason why I came in here this morning, and again it's related to the text we have today. And I want to go back now and do this from another angle. The light was just amazing. I'm sorry, people, if I woke 10 minutes earlier, but I sent out a picture on the WhatsApp group, and there was such an incredible orange light before the sun emerged. There was that break in the clouds, because I saw the cloud from my room, and I said, gosh, this is going to take a while. But there was a break underneath the cloud that I hadn't noticed, and that's how that got started. Oh, but it's also changed here now, because these icons were all lit up. That was one of the reasons I wanted to be inside. These icons are very relevant in today's readings because all these names are actually listed, because Jesus calls his apostles, the 12 apostles, to their new role. And they have had a very significant role. Thomas, Doubting Thomas. Imagine there we have the first one, Doubting Thomas, the first one on our list today. And Doubting Thomas fulfilled a great mission, even though he had that very, let's say, very demanding, rational approach, his disbelief before the resurrection. And this is the other Judas. And that's why we will have many people called Jude. And we even have that famous song, Hey Jude. And Judas is a great inspiration for many people because of difficulties, to pray for God's blessing in times of difficulties. And Andrew, and there we see the sign of Andrew on the left, that little X, which is actually a cross turned sideways because he didn't feel worthy to be crucified like Jesus was, and he said, crucify me in an X form. Just like his brother Peter was crucified upside down, tradition says that that's what he demanded because he just felt unworthy to be crucified like his Lord. What an incredible scene, to be crucified upside down and to want that and to request that. And he had such opposition to the cross originally. I'm talking about Simon Peter. And his brother Andrew was the first one to meet Jesus, and he went and got his brother Peter. These are marvelous, marvelous icons. And then Simon Zelote, Simon the Zealot, these are names are in Latin. And he was an ardent, politically rebel against Rome. That was the movement he belonged to, the Zealots. So he was the exact opposite to Matthew, who was a collaborator with Rome. He was a tax collector. So Matthew would work for the Romans. He had probably Roman soldiers around him to protect him, like we see in the movie The Chosen. And then because of his order as a tax collector, he had to have an ordered office and write reports. He has an incredible gospel to his name. And then we have John, the beloved disciple. It was also an amazing gospel, the pure heart. The person who loved Jesus so much. Near the cross of Jesus stood Mary, his mother, and Mary Magdalene and the women, and the disciple. He loved John. John is the great apostle and evangelist of love. And and it's also in its mystical dimension. Look at that light, people. Now the sun has gone behind the cloud, I think, and we'll go out there in a moment. We're walking here behind the altar. We don't often get to do that, so you can see how there's a cut here for proclaiming the Word of God. So when you're out there and you're looking toward the altar and somebody's proclaiming the gospel, it looks like Jesus is teaching again from the boat. You normally don't get to see the palm trees reflected on the infinity pool like we are right now. The light is so magical. And then we have Simon Peter, whom Jesus appointed to leadership among the 12 in a very powerful way, and changed his name to Rock, Petrus. Man of incredible impulse and drive, but needed a tremendous amount of formation to enter the spirit of the gospel. And James, that's Jacobus in Latin, in Hebrew, Jacob, so in Yaqub in Arabic, so the brother of John, and James and John, they wanted to bring down fire on the Samaritan village. They also needed a tremendous amount of transformation. And then we have Bartholomew, also called Nathanael, from Cana in Galilee. And he had such an encounter, his first encounter with Jesus. And Philip brought him to Jesus. Again, we're all brought to Jesus by different people. And here we have James, the first bishop of Jerusalem, extraordinary man, martyred, the first apostle to be martyred, I think, of the 12. And because Herod saw the people like that, the leadership, he wanted to kill Peter as well. Very important at the Council of Jerusalem to establish unity and what the faith in the church in Jerusalem, how they would hold in the changing circumstances of the Gentiles when Paul comes with his complaints about people imposing circumcision, and the church goes forward. Then we have Judas, and he's not looking at us like the other disciples, like the other apostles. His name is not in gold. And I ask people to pray here. Sometimes people don't like that we have Judas here. He doesn't have a halo. Obviously, that's because of the scriptures. And I ask people to pray for me. All of us can have some authority, and our hearts can go with the gain of the moment, with our own ideas, like Hosea the prophet is speaking today, the idolatry. And our heart can turn from our true devotion and calling. And here we have Philip, a Greek name. The Greeks came to Jesus, and Philip was an open door for them and helped them to connect with Jesus. Another prayer I ask people to pray for me when they're talking, when they're upset about Judas being here. I say, pray for me that when another person shows up as Judas, near or far away, that I won't destroy him and the media and the internet and the Twitter, that we have great respect before every person, no matter what their condition and situation is. That's all in God's hands. And I should treat anybody, even those who do bad to us, with the love with which Jesus treated Judas. He didn't destroy Judas on the spot. He protected Judas. He didn't reveal him at the Last Supper because the apostles couldn't handle that news then. And he accepted his kiss of betrayal. He didn't push him back. He didn't wipe him out. Remember, Jesus cursed the fig tree and it died. Well, you know, he had that power, but he had such a respect for Judas. So there we are. Let's go outside and see this amazing light. And all these apostles went through a major course of formation, you could say, in their years with Jesus. They weren't just learning things, they were being transformed. They were being formed to be light, to be salt of the earth. And we see how they went and fulfilled their mission, the extraordinary grace of that time with Jesus. Look at that light. It's a feast of light. The trees are standing out over there on the edge of the Sea of Galilee on the eastern side. Actually, that's very close to Bethsaida, the home of the apostles. Well, at least according to the second excavation of Bethsaida that's have been happening the last few years with Steve Nutley and Rami Arab. And there's a church over there, the Church of the 12 Apostles. It seems to be that they have found that, which has been referenced also in history by pilgrims in years gone by. It's funny, these hills here, I haven't noticed them in that type of form before. They're obviously been there a while. They didn't come in for the sunrise stroll and chat this morning. So you can see Mount Arbel is still here, even though we weren't outside this morning. And speaking there of the formation of the 12 apostles, I love the psalm today. Seek always the face of the Lord. It's a very formative phrase for our lives, to form our mind and our heart and our soul. Seek always the face of the Lord. That's what these 12 apostles enjoyed. And that's really what transformed them. Watching Jesus' face, especially when he was in trial and difficulty. They had that schooling here with him. People, God bless you. See you later, alligators. Oh, somebody was right. somebody wrote a comment yesterday and they said that I had finished off without doing the selfie moment at the end, and they said surely I had forgotten it, and that's exactly what happened. Yesterday was quite a bit of my mind was on some other things because we had I-24 filming here, the television crew from Jaffa, and they're preparing a nice piece on Magdala. So we're looking forward to that and very grateful for their dedication and their help. People, God bless you. See you later, alligator.